hope you went and saw my video when I was at the park and did the cherry drop as an old Gen X. Not too bad. A couple of cartwheels. I could do it better. I didn't have a lot of space, like a lot of room, so so they were kind of sloppy, but I could probably do a little better than that on a good day, I kind of set myself a little bit apart from the other, all the other Gen X generations. I'm a little bit different than they are. I understand the future generations, I think, a little bit better. And you can let me know in the comments. You smash that like button, please. I don't get paid for this or anything. This is all volunteer stuff that I do. I don't get paid for any of my videos or anything, so show you the amount that I of my concern and that I care. Also, hold on a second. I have to have notes on everything because otherwise I don't remember nothing. I have ADHD really bad all the time, so okay. I know a lot of the Gen X always tell okay. I'll start out there, but I have some I have a very important message for all of you, the Gen Xers, for all generations. I'll just say that. But I'll start out with this first, I guess. Okay, remember the red station wagon? Did you ever have a station wagon, back in the day when you were a kid? Well, we had a red one, and the car was just, it was worse than a lemon, I have to say. The whole inside, we tore the whole inside of the car up, we used to lay in the back window, and they never do that nowadays, right? We lay it up in there in the back window like a cat would, and no problem. And then we'd roll off. Mom would turn the car, would turn the corner, and we all wah, wah, fly all over the back seats, And we would take the seatbelts, and we didn't put them on, We used the seatbelts as swings, okay, in the back seat. We'd sit on them, we'd pull them way out, stretch them out, sit on them, and swing back and forth as Mom's driving. And so that was one thing that we did, and I maybe some others can relate to that. And I also, when the parents left, or before they got home from work, and we already were home from school, and when we were in the house, it was War of the Worlds, okay, broke out in the house, okay. When the parents when they were gone, they left. They went out to dinner or whatever. Us 3 kids, I was the youngest, and then I had a stepsister and a stepbrother. Now they had the same mother, but I had a different dad. But then I found out later my dad wasn't my real dad. So actually I was raised by a mom and a dad that weren't even mine. How that happened? Because I guess my real mom lied, and because of the courts back then, you think they're corrupt now, they were very corrupt, and back then, I guess they really didn't know what they were doing, and a lot of stuff slipped right through, through the cracks, I guess. I noticed because my real mom lied and said that I was Jack's kid, which was not my real dad. My real dad couldn't have anything to do with me because he was a Mason, a Illuminati, elite, whatever you want to call it. He was a builder. He was in the builders group. He was Swedish, and he was a multimillionaire, but he couldn't have anything to do with me because he didn't want me involved in that, because they use and abuse and eat kids and all that other stuff, and use them to be baby farms and all the other stuff. So, whatever. That's another video for another day. But so he didn't want me involved in that, but he came and visited me twice after I was born, and that was it. Last time I ever saw him. He wouldn't marry my real mom, so my real mom wanted me to have a dad. So she lied to my stepdad, said that I was his kid. But then she later on told me when I found her, after 10 years, I finally found her again because I was separated from her. And when I found her from a picture photo up in Estes, Colorado, she told me, she saw me, she goes, oh, no. You are not Jack's kid. You're Lee's kid. And for sure, because he had the same lisp that I have and everything. So, but I never got to find him. But he probably passed away by now. But anyways, back to what we were talking about. Yeah, I had the meanest stepbrother you can imagine. Him and his brother, him and all his friends were like 6 foot tall, right? I'm just like really small, you know. And I would get them from school, and as soon as I walked in the door, they would take me by my arms and legs and take me to the pool. And the pool in the deep end was a lot smaller, okay, than the wide open deep, shallow end. Okay, took me to the deep end, and they go 1, 2, 3, and swing and throw me up in the air. And I thought I was going to land on the other side of the cement, you know, where the other cement, on the other side of the pool. And I did land in the water, luckily, but one day I got fed up with it, and the guy picked me up to do that, to throw me in the pool. And I bit him in the shoulder, and he just dropped me. And I mean, it hurt so bad, dropped me right in the cement. They were so mean to me. My brother used to throw vegetables, like rotten vegetables and stuff and fruit at me, you know, and once he threw a tomato and it didn't break, and when they throw it really hard, a tomato, and it doesn't fully break on you, it really hurts. The impact is harder. One day I walked into the house, he had a pump gun that you pump up, an air gun, and pumped it up like 10 times. And he used to take these little, like, hard beans, you know, and he'd break them in half, put it in the gun, and boom, boom, target practice with me. And I'm dodging, you know, behind the couches and everything. And one time he got me in the leg, and the bean stuck in my thigh, in my leg. Put my cats in the microwave, and then stand in front of the microwave and turn it on. And I have to, like, get him out of the way. And he was big. He was a big, fat boy, you know. And it's hard to like push them out of the way, you know, get that kitten out of the microwave. They just did really mean things. They hung my Cabbage Patch Kids by their necks. And one time, my stepbrother took my big stocking that I had of Lifesavers. Remember those Lifesaver candies? They came in like booklets, you know, for Christmas, all different flavors. Well, he took those in the stocking, and he's trying to smack it against the wall and break all my Lifesavers. So I picked up a knife in the kitchen, and I ran after him. And I said, "Get my Lifesavers!" And I was only like 4 or 5 years old. You know, it's crazy. So then they thought, ever since then, I was a little bit weird, and they were a little bit scared of me. Good. It probably saved my life, you know. But anyways, moving on. The next thing was, maybe you can relate to, you always had that one gross nerd kid at school, you know, with the bifocals, and he used to eat eraser shavings and toilet paper, like, you know, Kleenex, and he was just so nasty. He was gross. I don't know if you ever had one of those in your class, but I sprayed him with shaving cream. I mean, not shaving cream, whipped cream one time. We were having like this desserts or whatever at school, and the kids brought in whipped cream. And I said, "Give me that." And I go, I sprayed him down. He was all like, crying, ran out of the classroom. I was like, what a nerd. You know, whatever. But, so moving on, you might have one of those kids at school. I was the one that used to beat up bullies, you know, and protect the weak, you know, and beat up the strong. And I was just like a little thing, you know, a little girl. But I did. One of the neighborhood mothers used to sell those kids cigarettes, okay? and there were these one cigarettes called Silk cigarettes, and they had the silk filters, cigarette filters. Those are, oh man, they were so awesome. And we had the colored cigarettes. Remember the colored cigarettes? The red ones and green ones and yellow ones and all that? Remember those? And then we had the, and then like, you always had that friend that would break into their parents' liquor cabinet after school and get us all drunk off of vodka. And remember the peach schnapps and peppermint schnapps? Remember that? And the Strawberry Hill and the Night Train. I used to drink the Night Train because I was a little punk rocker. You know, I shaved my head with mohawk, got my rear end beat, you know, when I went home, you know, one day, but whatever. And for shaving my head, you know, but I had to stop the rumors in school, so I had to make them be scared of me and fear me in order to stop the rumors, and it worked. So, what are you gonna do, right? So, do you have another thing? Us girls used to sneak out at like 12 midnight, right? And then girls would come over and they'd go, hey, you know, and they'd throw little pebbles at your door, and I'd be up waiting for them, you know. And we would sneak out in our socks, so we'd be really quiet, and we'd be running around the neighborhood at night, and we'd take the Christmas lights, you know, if it was Christmas time and stuff like that, and just we would do teepee people's houses with the toilet paper and the shaving cream and everything. One time I did my neighbor's car with the shaving cream, and it stripped his paint off his car. Oops. They kicked me out. They made me mad. Oh well. And then you have, here's another one. When we were hungry, we couldn't go inside in the house until like dinner time or whatever. So we would pretend we were on a scavenger hunt, and we would go knocking on the doors, and each door we'd have a little list of things like bread, peanut butter, stuff like that, right? And paper clips, rubber band, and then we'd have like one soda, one can of soda, any kind, or something like that, right? So one piece of cheese, one piece of bologna, whatever, you know. And we'd go to different doors, different houses, right? And we'd knock on the door and we'd go, we have a list, we're doing a scavenger hunt. And we only have like 5 things more on the list, you know, and stuff. We're trying to win. And they go, oh yeah, what do you got on the list? We'll help you out. We go, oh, a paper clip. We need 1 Q-tip or some, you know, stupid. And then we go, oh, we need a piece of bread. We need with like 1 piece of with some peanut butter on it, and then we need a piece of cheese and a piece of bologna, stuff like that, and 1 can of soda and a straw and, you know, stuff like that, you know, and a hair clip or you know, and they would run around their house and get these things for us, and then we'd have like a small little, we'd have some snacks. It was a smart idea, right? We were smart kids. We knew how to survive, man, I'll tell you. We did Dig Dong Door Ditch. You remember that one? Just go up to the house. Knock, run, running. And then they come and open the door, see kids running down the street or hiding behind the bushes, you know, until they came out and went back inside. It was funny. It's just cheap thrills, you know, when you're a kid. How about like when we would go up to people's houses, right? We played a lot of no, go. It's my dog. We played a lot of dare and double dare, you know, and stuff. Spin the bottle. We did a lot of that with the boys in the hood, you know, and stuff like that, you know. And we would. I'm just doing some painting right here while I'm doing this. Remember, we used to go up to people's houses, and sometimes we would, just for fun, and we would dare each other to go up to someone's house, and then we'd knock on the door, and they would answer the door and go, yeah, we were just wondering, we were missing, our cat got loose, he ran away, and we saw him come, like, I think we saw him come through your yard, and they go, oh, what does he look like? We go, well, he's got 1 eye, and he's kind of like a purple blue tint to him, you know, and he's got like 3 legs, broken leg, and you see him limp through. It was just all, he buzzed up laughing, And then the person would be like, just start laughing to you, go, oh, you got me there, it'd be funny. We just mess around, but nobody got mad or anything, They just thought it was funny. They laugh at us. So and a lot of people back in those days had a sense of humor, and they didn't take everything that serious, too serious to the point to where to where there's people nowadays don't, people don't joke around anymore, and they don't laugh. They don't, the thing I learned, from living in Vegas here is that if you want to piss off your enemy the most, and you want to really piss off your enemies, you know what you do? You laugh and you smile a lot. And you can laugh and joke about yourself, and it doesn't bother you. You can suffer humility, self-humility. You can suffer through anything, and nobody can ever offend you. Because I know that these new generations are and nowadays. I'm heartfelt for you. I really do understand, for the most part, what it must be like. Kind of what it must be like, because Jesus, the Holy Spirit, talks to me, and I was wondering, about you guys and about these future generations and how you are and stuff, because I don't really, out there social mingle with, anyone that's underage, it's like, with kids and stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't have any kids, and people think it's like stranger danger now if you talk to kids, so I just kind of stay away from them. And, which it's kind of, it's a shame, because I lost my son at 1.5. He died, and he died in my arms, and I had 3 abortions. I would have had 2 boys and another girl. But I think of it this way: I have 4 kids that made it to heaven. 1 that I still have on earth, I didn't get to raise her. Her father kept her from me her whole life, so I didn't get to raise her. Most of her life, I couldn't even find her. I didn't know where she was at. I spent half my life looking for her, and I couldn't find her. Finally, when I was near death, my ex-husband let me finally have her number. We talked, we communicated, we got along great. I spent hundreds of miles and thousands of dollars to go see her in Colorado, right? In Oregon, pardon me. She lived in Portland, Oregon. She still is. And we went out to lunch. I guess I was basically on a job interview, but to be a mother, I guess, to qualify as a mother or not. I didn't know this. She bought us lunch, and because by the time I got there, I didn't have hardly any money left. And I called her up, and I told her I ran out of gas. Can you help me out? She goes, "No, you're the mother. You're supposed to help me out. I don't help you out." And I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And she goes, "You don't qualify to be my mother. Your life's too unstable." I said, "Well, I'm basically retired. I can't work. I have disabilities. I can't work. I have no checks come in. That they won't even grant me any disability. They did me wrong. I didn't get no stimulus checks. Nothing. I get nothing, and I cannot work because I got run over by an SUV years ago, and I can't work. So the thing is I don't get anything. So so she didn't want to be involved in my life. I stayed in Oregon for years and years and years and years, waiting around to see if she'd change her mind or whatever. Never did. So that was that. I move on, finally, I guess. And so, but here's some other things I'll tell you about. Remember the ices in school? Those like triangular shape, weird. They're like triangular shape and two different, but they like twisted, kind of like it's weird, And you had to try to get those things open, but everyone loved those ices, man. In school, they love those. I love those things. It's the only thing I liked in the lunch, but. And then they had, remember, I played this whole time I was pregnant. Remember the game Zelda? I played it every day through my whole pregnancy. And then Space Invaders, of course. And then remember this one. And then there's Pac-Man. Remember this one? The pinball machines. The good old pinball machines, And then they had the... one time, okay, you wanted to know one time what, like a strange incident with with a parent. My stepdad and me went fishing one day up in Minnesota. We were in the woods cruising on the four-wheeler, right? The only time we ever really did anything together, really, was that day, really. Any other time was really just errands, wasn't like really spending a day together, like fishing or anything, right? You know what I mean? And usually he was just like, go away all the time. He was an electrician. He could have trained me from a young age to be an electrician because I was interested in wires and stuff. I used to go, Dad, what's this? And I love those little like connector things because they were all bright colors, different colors. And I loved wires and all that stuff. I thought it was so neat. I loved it as a kid. And I found interest in it. So why didn't he just let me hang around and teach me the trade? Because today I would have made a lot of money, being an electrician, a foreman, and today, and I would be, why? Parents gotta think, you know what I mean? If your kid is interested in what you're doing as a profession, involve them in it. Get them involved in it. Right then and there. Teach them about it. Get them involved, so that they do, maybe, start living out your trade or your profession as you get older. You don't know. Maybe they're really interested in what you're doing. So introduce what you're doing to them. Because my one thing my ex-husband did do that was really good for my daughter is that, the only good thing he did, but the one thing he really did for my daughter was he had her working with him at an early age, ever since she was like 5 years old. He brought her to work with him and he had her help him with the carpet cleaning business. And he paid her. And to this day, when she grew up, even to this day, she can't stand not having a job. She even has 2 jobs sometimes 3 jobs. She's a makeup artist. She's very talented. She's very intelligent. She cooks. She's a chef. She's so many I'm so proud of her and all of her accomplishments. She's still going to school today. She straight A's through college and everything. School, aced it. And even though she didn't have a mom around, for whatever reason she didn't know, because I couldn't find her and he wouldn't let me be involved in her life growing up. And so I guess she blames me for that now. Sorry, it wasn't my fault. But life is life, And I got the short end of the stick, and I got the bad version of life instead, but it is what it is. And sometimes things happen for a reason, I was in training for something. I was being prepared, shaped and molded and sculptured for things that I went through nowadays. I have to say, I wouldn't have survived this long. I wouldn't have made it, and I wouldn't be talking to you to this day. And there's a lot of things I wouldn't have been able to get through if I didn't grow up the way I did, and I didn't experience those things that I experienced in those days. I was definitely being groomed and sculptured and molded and prepared and trained boot training. You know what I mean? Boot camp training for all the events and all the things and all the experiences and all the things I had to go through. You know, as a young adult, teenager, and through my whole life as an adult. You know, I've had a really rough time, rough life. And the more beautiful you are, as a male or female, child or otherwise, I have to say it's really hard. The more harder it is, because you got those that are jealous of you and envious of you, and they come after you in so many different wicked ways you can't even imagine. So much malice and manipulation and deception and stealing and gossiping and coming against you because you're beautiful and because you're pretty and because you have this or that, and they're jealous and they're envious, and envy causes strife and murder, you know. And my mom told me that one time, one of the last things she ever said to me was on the phone. She said, because Desiree, you know, you're like an angel from heaven. And I said, oh, Mom, no, I'm not. Yeah, right, I'm a stripper. I don't believe that. But she told me, you know, you were always my favorite child, even though I didn't raise you and I wasn't in your life. She said, I still know you. I know who you are and how you are. And she said, you know, God told me to name you Desiree. She told me to give you the name Desiree because, so I did. And that's why your name is Desiree. And I said, wow, that's cool. And those were the last things she ever said to me before she disappeared in the Colorado mountains. Never heard or seen or found her ever since. Don't know what happened. She's just gone. But that's just life, right? So, but there are some other things I want to share with you, anyways. I'm going to stop this video for now, and I'm going to start again, do another video because it's getting kind of long. It's 27 minutes long. You're probably bored of me by now. But signing off, and I will be back to you very shortly. Watch my other videos. God bless you. God is your anchor. Arr, I'm the pirate.